just asked is, the original idea of charity was to fill the gaps between what government could provide and the private sector could produce. Now, look what you do with the crowdfunding. Now, we should be trying to use NGO work to do things faster, cheaper, better. And if you want it to be systematic change, in the end, you've either got to make a partnership with the private sector or government or both, or you've got to be so good that one or the other incorporates your device so that you cover the waterfront.
Well, and I think that for a long time, charity wasn't intended to be revolutionary. Right? It was intended to be a different type of safety net. And charity in the United States really grew out of an effort to protect widows and orphans of our men at the time who had perished in military service. And so really until the 20th century, even in the United States, which historically has been more of a philanthropic country than the countries which all of our forebears, or most of my forebears, most forebears came from, in the United States, had a tradition of, and that's something that de Tocqueville wrote about in the 1830s, recognizing that Americans were took a much greater sense of communal responsibility for one another than certainly he had seen in France. But it wasn't until the 20th century that there was any sense of kind of an educational or a health component in a sustained way. But even those were just sort of extensions of trying to stop the bottom from dropping any further. You know, until recently, it was never a question in a philanthropic enterprise, you know, how do we create systemic change? And I think it's really hard to get the right answer to that question if that question isn't asked from the beginning. And so one of the things that we're always trying to do is, how do we work ourselves out of a job? Because something will be of sufficient scale that either the government in the country where we're working will take it over, or where there will be a robust market on the horizon.